Good afternoon to all. Here you are going to see the slide of how we can reduce the stress concentration. In morning only we have seen what is the stress concentration and what is going to happen with the stress concentration. So we know that the failure chances are more where the stress is going to get concentrated, and we have to avoid as far as possible the stress concentration. Now here you can see some regions where the stress may get concentrated. When we are going to create a certain irregularity in the shape, the stress is going to get concentrated. So this is the region where the stress is going to get concentrated. So second figure you can see here, instead of creating one notch, if you are going to create the successive notch near to the main notch, then you can see the streamlines are going to become smooth. Now this is first streamline which here we have drawn. This is going to get smooth. Okay. Here also it is going to get smooth. Likewise. So from this point, instead of concentrating here only, this streamline is going to get diverted from the initial point. So this is preferable one. And here this is not preferable because at one point you are going to concentrate the stress. This is first example how we can or what are the remedies on the removing the stress concentration. Another way is that near to that geometrical V notch which is required in that component. This is one component where the V notch is required. Okay, nearby to that V notch, if you are going to drill the small holes, then the streamline is going to again become smooth. Okay, or if instead of having notch only, if you are going to remove this particular material nearby to the notch, then again, but it is possible only when the notch is not playing a important role in the functioning of that particular component. Okay, you can remove that much material and you can smooth down that streamlines. Okay, this is one example. Then this example shows that instead of having sharp curve, is 90 degree. Instead of that, if smooth curve instead of 90 degree, then also the streamlines will become smooth and it will help to reduce the stress concentration. Are you getting me? Or can create one small deep hole and you can smoothen that. Or initially, if it is not possible, you are going to create here smooth curve also. Plus, if you are going to make some notches near to the previous area or bigger area, it is going to become, or it will be help to reduce that stress concentration. Now, very good example here you can see this example has been elaborated here only. Instead of making this sharp edge, if you are going to make it as a fillet, if you are going to provide some curvature, then these lines of stress lines that will become smooth. Okay, and we can avoid much more concentration of stress at this area. This all comes from the what we can say experience. Okay, and study of the streamlines. Okay, in case of keyholes where the stress concentration will be more near to the keyholes, you can provide two small holes. Okay, and you can reduce the stress concentration at these areas. Is it visible to all? Are you getting me what I am saying? Let me know. You can put your comments in chat box. Yes. Okay. So when we are going to make yes, Shubham, thank you. When we are going to make a threads on certain component, that is, we can take example of nut and bolt. What we can do that here you can see that threads are manufactured after certain interval of this bolt. Okay, that is some space is provided in between threads and the bolt area, so that we can smooth down that stress lines. Okay, here also one has provided solution that instead of making sudden change in area, here you can see here, if you are going to keep that bolt diameter, okay, this diameter equal to the minimum diameter of these threads or minor diameter of these threads, then also this concentration of stress can be reduced. Now there are possibilities that this stress concentration may take place where you are going to mark stamp of your company on any component, then where the sudden change in area is going to take place, where geometrical irregularities are there. Okay, and these are some examples by means of which we can reduce the stress concentration. Hope that you might have understood it. Viraj Patil, any question? Viraj Patil? No? Okay. Then is it okay for everybody? Do you have any question? If not, we will go to the next slide. Here also you can see some examples where stress can be reduced or stress concentration can be reduced. Okay. This particular component is undergoing to the bending moment. Okay. And here you can see in the previous case also, you can provide some fillet, that is nothing but curves instead of having sharp edge, or you can provide some notch here so that stress concentration will get reduced, or you can provide notch here so that stress concentration can reduce in this case. This particular component is undergoing to the bending stress. If suppose this component is undergoing to the tensile load, and if hole is created in that particular component, tie rod we can take example, then that particular stress concentration can be reduced by providing two small holes nearby to that geometrical required hole. Okay, so that we can reduce the stress concentration. Here also you can say if you are going to provide some sort of distance between the thread and that bolt, or next part of that bolt, step at on the bolt, then this where we are going to see the concentration of stress may be increased at this area, and this stress concentration can be reduced in well manner. Okay, this is good one, and this is prepared. Okay, this is good, but here also we are going to provide some sort of step. May I know whose mic is on? Yes. Do you have any query? That's why you have started or you have unmuted yourself. Mulani? Roll number 38, Mulani. Can you unmute? Are you listening me, Mulani? So come once again at the point where we can have the preferable geometry of that particular threaded parts. Okay, is it fine? Do you get it? And we can move to the next slide. So here we are going to start one important point, which is very important from the design point of view. That is endurance limit and notch sensitivity. First of all, we are going to see endurance limit, and then afterwards we will see the notch sensitivity. This endurance limit is very important term which is used for the designing of any component under the application of fluctuating type of load. Okay, all categories of that fluctuating type of load, that is reverse, then uh, fluctuating, as well as what we are going to see, that loading condition where the load is going to decrease or increase with respect to time. In such cases, this endurance limit is important. Now, this endurance limit is denoted by means of letter S suffix E, or it is also denoted by sigma suffix E. Now, these two nomenclatures we are going to use henceafter for the endurance limit. Okay, E is indicating endurance limit. S is indicating as a stress in some author, or sigma is indicating as a stress in some books which has written by some author. Okay, so these two nomenclatures are normally used for that. Now you can understand what the endurance limit is. First of all, we'll read it. Endurance or fatigue limit. It is also called as fatigue limit. Okay, so endurance or fatigue limit stress. It is a value of stress actually. Okay, which is named as a fatigue limit, or it is named as endurance limit. Okay, it is what? It is a value of stress. It is a stress like tensile limit, what we can say yield stress or ultimate stress. We have given name as yield, or we have given name as ultimate. Likewise, here we are going to name that stress as endurance limit or fatigue limit. Okay, is defined as the maximum amplitude of completely reverse stress. Here, this word should be underlined, and that is indicating completely reversed. What it means, that the amount by means of which you apply tensile load, same amount of compressive load has to be applied, completely reversed. Okay, this is tensile region, this is compressive region, so same amount of compressive load has to be applied. Okay, it is defined as the maximum amplitude of completely reverse stress that the standard specimen, underline the standard specimen. Okay, the standard specimen can sustain for an unlimited number of cycles. What it means, that when we are going to apply that value of stress, that value of stress or that amount of stress has to be sustained by one component. Okay, we are going to call it as a standard component. Okay, that standard component has to be sustained it for unlimited number of cycles. That is nothing but we are goes on applying that amount of stress, and if that particular component is in working condition, it has to sustain that cycles for infinite number of cycles, right, without fatigue failure. So that is called as endurance limit stress. Okay, or fatigue limit stress. Now here one term has been added in yield stress value, ultimate stress value. One more term we have to consider it as a endurance limit stress or fatigue limit stress. And it is also a value of stress. Yield stress is also a value of stress. Ultimate stress is the value of that stress. Likewise, this endurance limit is also a value of stress, but it is in completely reverse manner, and which we can apply on the standard specimen. Now, On the next slides, we can clear this particular concept. Here you can see the specimen, okay, which has accepted by ASME, American Society for Mechanical Engineers, okay. And this specimen has been used for any material. If suppose we are going to use some alloy of steel, and if you want to calculate the endurance limit of that steel, alloy steel, then first of all, Prathamesh Patil, will you please unmute yourself, Prathamesh? Prathamesh Patil. Once again, I am requesting you to unmute yourself. Now you can see that specimen has a particular value. Now length of this specimen has to be taken as a 875 millimeter, okay, including the supports. Okay, here support is provided. Then at mid, exact mid, the diameter of this specimen is 7.657 millimeter. Okay, and the curvature which has been provided to the specimen is of 251 millimeter radius. Okay, obviously here also that radius will be provided, and this is round in shape. Okay, now support has been provided here, and if you apply the cage or the picture in such a way that here we can apply this load, okay, and if you rotate this specimen, definitely the completely reverse cyclic load will be applied, or reverse load will be applied, right? Because this specimen is going to rotate, this particular part is again going to, now suppose the tensile load is, or tensile stress is created here, okay, as you are going to apply load in downward direction, but this point will go on rotating and it will reach to this point. At that time, same amount of compression load will be, or compressive load will be applied, and each and every point on this specimen will be undergo to the completely reverse load, okay, and it will create completely reverse cycle, right? So we can goes on adding load, which we can measure in grams. Later on we can measure it in kg, and later on we can convert it into Newton. Okay, so this force P, which we are going to apply in Newton, will give us freedom to calculate the stress which will be generated by means of this load, cyclic load, which we are going to apply, divided by cross section area. Okay, hence it is going to become a value of stress. Now if you goes on increasing till the specimen is undergoing to the fatigue failure, and just before that value which you are going to get for the stress before the failure, that you can name as a endurance limit stress. Are you getting me? And the value of the stress which will be generated, that is maximum stress in tensile direction and maximum stress in compression direction. Okay, that value you are going to denote as an endurance limit. Now you may ask question that, sir, what will happen if suppose we are going to increase the value of that particular stress above the endurance limit? Definitely it will sustain some amount of cycle, right? And if you goes on reducing that stress, then number of cycles will goes on increasing. And if you are going to increase that stress, the number of cycles which that component is going to sustain will get reduced. And one value of cycle or number of cycles will be there, that specimen cannot sustain a single cycle. When you are going to create compressive stresses, and as it goes to the tensile, the specimen may get break. That means it is not going to sustain a single cycle also. And that value, can you guess what that value will be? As soon as you are going to apply the load, then the specimen will get failed, not with the fatigue failure, but with our regular failure, as it happens in case of tensile stress or tensile test, we can say. Can you just guess what that value will be? As soon as you are going to apply that load, this specimen is moving in plastic region. I'll repeat. As soon as you are going to apply that amount of load, instead of starting rotation of the specimen will undergo to the plastic region. What that value of stress will be? Anybody of you? What will be the value of that stress?
Yield stress.
Okay, yes, what?
Yield stress.
Yield stress, right? That will be the yield stress of that particular material. Okay. Likewise, by means of this standard specimen and the experimentation which we can do on this specimen, we can create or we can have one graph which will indicate value of stress on y-axis and number of cycles on x-axis. Okay, it is called as SN curve. Instead of sigma, you can use S for the stress. Okay, and it is known as a S, that is stress, and number of cycles as a N. SN curve. S on y-axis, stress on y-axis, and number of cycles on x-axis. Okay, it is known as a SN curve. Now we are going to see what do you mean by this SN curve. Before that, just I have shown you what the SN curve is. Now here you can see this curve for the standard specimen when we are going to create the experimentation. Okay, on that standard specimen, we can put the value of that stress on y-axis and number of cycles on x-axis. As the scale has been used as a log scale, okay, because number of cycles which that specimen can sustain are more in number. To fit that particular curve in this limited space, we can use this log scale. Okay, so we can have some value of stress. We can have some value of stress here. In this case, we can take an example as a 50. After that, if you are going to provide that cycles of completely reversed stress, okay, then that specimen is going to sustain it for its lifetime, for infinite number of cycles. Okay, what you are going to call it as? This value as the endurance limit stress. Am I right? In this case, for the particular application, it is 50 Newton per millimeter square for the specific application, for the material for which this graph has been drawn. If you goes on increasing the value of that stress, then failure is going to occur. These points are drawn for the failure. Then that particular value of the number of cycles which that specimen can sustain under the application of that particular value of stress is called as the life of that particular component under the completely reversed stress. Okay, so up to this point, we'll call this point as A point. Okay, up to this A point, the cycles which that specimen can sustain is called as finite life cycle of that particular specimen. Okay, so up to this point A, if you are going to provide the stress, definitely you will come to know that after how many number of cycles that specimen is going to get failed. So here in this case, after we can say 10 to the power of 4 number of cycles, this part is going to get fail. Okay, in between somewhere 10 to the power of 3 and 10 to the power of 4, in between somewhere this component is going to get fail. That means you have designed that particular component, but for the finite life. Okay, so you can give intimation to that particular user that after this many number of cycles of application or this many number of kilometers, when you are going to use that particular component for the automobile, for example crankshaft, you can say that after this many number of kilometers, when the engine will work, then that component has to be replaced, otherwise it will get fail, and you can provide that information well before the failure. You can tell to that customer that it is going to get fail after 10 to the power of 10 number of cycles. You can convert it by using some relation in kilometers also, or in number of hours that engine can be used. Okay, and after that you have to go for the routine maintenance and you have to replace that particular component. That's why every automobile company is giving you warranty period. Okay, and after that they are going to provide some free servicings. Why? Because they are knowing that some part are having their limited life, and that parts has to be replaced after certain interval of time. Getting me? So there are number of parts which will undergo to this type of stresses, that is fluctuating type of stresses or completely reverse type of stresses. Okay, getting me? So have you got this what the SN curve is and what the endurance limit is? If you have any question, you are free to ask. Yes. Any question? If not, then we can go further. I'd like to hear from you that do you have any question related to this? Repeat standard specimen. Okay. Okay, the standard specimen is having some standard dimensions. Okay, we have to manufacture this specimen in same way, that is using the standard dimensions. Okay, then we can provide this completely reverse stress by means of providing support here. Okay, with bearings we can provide support, and at the mid we can apply load on that specimen. After completion of this, we can rotate this specimen with the help of motor. Then what will happen? This load is acting in downward direction, but each and every point on this specimen will undergo to the completely reversed stress. Is it right? Have you understood it? Everybody? Yes. Okay. So what we are going to do is that, first of all, we are going to apply 10 Newton. and we are going to check whether the specimen is going to sustain that infinite number of cycles or not. Okay, what value of infinite number of cycles we are going to consider? It roughly it will be 10 to the power 6. Okay, 10 to the power 6 number of cycles. If that specimen is going to sustain, then we are going to say after that that cycles are becoming as a infinite number of cycles. And simultaneously we are going to draw a graph of SCN curve. Later on we are going to increase that stress as a increasing load. Suppose it is 20 Newton. Okay, the stress will get increased based on that. Then we can do it as a 30. Okay, based on that we'll have the value of stress, and where this particular component is going to sustain number of cycles below 10 to the power 6, and it is going to fail by means of fatigue failure, not as a failure which is occurring in tensile test. The failure is occurring in fatigue nature. Then that particular value where the failure is going to occur, just before to that, the stress which you have mentioned or measured on SN curve, that you are going to call as a its endurance limit, below which if you are going to apply the stress, this component will sustain infinite number of cycles. Above which if you are applying the stress, value of stress, then limited number of cycles will be sustained by that particular component or that specimen, standard specimen. That will become the value of this particular stress will become endurance limit of that particular material. Do you get it? Yes. Okay. Can we move further? Okay. Okay. Let me know whether you have got the concept of this SN curve. No. Okay. I'll repeat once again what the SN curve is. In case of this SCN curve, exactly what we are going to do, we are going to, we can go in reverse manner also. That is, we can use the ultimate stress, which generally occurs in case of brittle materials. We can apply that much amount of stress on that standard specimen. Definitely, without completing any cycle, that specimen is going to get break. Okay, it is having fatigue failure. Suddenly, it will get fail. Then we are going to reduce that value of stress. Okay, below the ultimate tensile stress. Then that specimen will sustain some amount of cycles, and after that, due to fatigue, it will get fail. Again, we can reduce that amount of stress. That specimen will sustain more number of cycles than the previous, and it will get fail. Likewise, if you goes on reducing the stress, okay, somewhere here the failure will occur in between number of cycles equal to 10 to the power of 2 to the 10th of power of 3. Okay, then this number of cycles will be sustained by that specimen. Later on, again we can reduce the stress. Okay, at particular value. Here, suppose that failure is going to occur. Then we can say that amount of stress will be sustained by the component standard specimen, and failure will occur in between somewhere 10 to the power of 10 cycles to the 10 to the power of 4 cycles. Okay, exactly it will happen when we are going to apply stress equal to the 50 Newton per millimeter square, and we observe that after that the failure is going to occur for infinite number of cycles. That number of cycles which will be sustained are more than the 10 to the power of 6, which we are going to consider as a infinite number of cycles. Okay, more than that 10 to the power of 6. So this value of stress is called as endurance limit of that particular specimen material, or the material from which that specimen has been manufactured. Is it clear? Let me know. You can write in comment box. Yes, okay. Because this SCN curve is used for designing of any component under the application of its fluctuating type of stress or fluctuating type of load. And based on this SN curve, this design is done. So it is important to understand what the endurance limit is, what the SN curve is, because based on that, further diagrams are there, which is called as Soderberg diagram or Goodman diagram. These diagrams are helpful for designing any component for infinite number of cycles or finite number of cycles. And this particular, what we can say, phenomenon is leading us to design any component under the fluctuating type of stresses for infinite number of cycles or finite number of cycles. Definitely one can prepare for the infinite number of cycles, but it may increase the cost of that particular component. Hence, it may increase the cost of that particular machinery which you are going to design for. So to reduce, okay. So to reduce the cost, we can go for the finite number of cycles. Okay. One question is that whether this SN curve is used only for the completely reverse cycle or completely reverse stresses. Yes, this SN curve is find out from the completely reversed stress only. Later on, it will be modified as per the requirement. If the loading is not completely reverse, if it is fluctuating type, then we can modify this particular SN curve. But SN curve is drawn for completely reverse cycle only. You got it? Let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So this SN curve later on can be modified and can be used. Is it clear?
Sir, my question is that, sir, SN curve is only used for design of rotating components.
Rotating components, we cannot say that SN curve is used to design only rotating components, but it is used to calculate the endurance limit. SN curve is used to calculate the endurance limit, and later on we can use this value of endurance limit for designing of any component which is not undergoing to the completely reverse cycle or rotating type of what we can say functioning. In case of hammering, where the rotation comes, but that
Sir, in
particular
graph it's given RPM, sir.
in graph it has been given in RPM, number of cycles. Okay, this particular graph is drawn from the experimentation which we have seen in previous slide. That is nothing but on standard component. That's why the RPM has been given.
Okay, sir.
Got it. And second thing is that this graph is drawn on based of completely reverse cycle only. but this value of endurance limit is used for designing of the components which are undergoing to the fluctuating type of stresses. It may be completely reversed or it may not be.
So SN curve varies with respect to the different components then.
SN curve will vary. Yeah, SN curve will, if you are going to change the geometry, definitely stress sustaining capacity will get changed. And if you are going to change material, then also strength of that material will get changed.
Okay, sir.
Right. So for each and every material which you are going to select for your application, we have to go for drawing this SN curve.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. And some what we can say, some of the standard materials which has invented till today, they do have that particular laboratory has calculated its endurance limit, and this SN curve is available for that particular material. Okay, it may be ranging from non-metallic materials which we are going to use like wood or plastic, or to the metallic materials which we are going to use in machineries like bronze or steel, various type of steels, or stainless steel. Okay, all these type of metals which are nowadays we are using, they have the standard specimen curve or this SN curve, which you can get in design data book, or nowadays you can refer it on Google also. Got it? If you invent some new material, and if you want to know the properties of that, like nowadays the reinforced materials are there. Some reinforced materials are used that you are going to call as a composites. Okay, composite materials, and invention is taking place in that composite materials. That is, in some composite materials you are going to reinforce natural fibers. In some component materials you are going to reinforce carbon fibers. Okay, likewise invention is taking place, and if you invent new material, then definitely you have to go for this testing, and you have to draw SN curve for that particular material by obeying the guidelines of ASME and by making that standard component. Get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can we go further?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, all these things which just I have explained are written on this slide for the endurance limit and SN curve. This is what we can say, the elaborated graph for the showing the value of endurance limit. Okay. Then we can also distinguish this graph in finite and infinite life of that particular component of that material. Okay, that which regions we have seen on the SN curve. Now, if you are going to calculate the endurance limit for various materials, okay, as I have mentioned that for the standard materials, these SN curves are available. That is for the carbon steel, alloy steel, then wrought iron, this tensile strength and endurance limit. This graph is available. Endurance limit is placed on y-axis and tensile strength is placed on x-axis. Okay, so you can check what is the difference between various materials where that failure is going to occur. Okay, with the combination of this tensile and endurance limit. This is for the understanding purpose. The next point which we are going to see, okay, before that, we'll stop here today. If you have any question, you can ask. If not, you can write your roll